Alright, welcome back again. Now, in this lesson, I'm actually firing up Maya over here. Now, honestly, it doesn't matter which modeling package you are using. It doesn't matter at all. I mean, you can use Blender, you can use 3D Max, you can use whatever modeling package that supports FBX export, whatever one you prefer. Okay. Now, there's a very important thing you have to understand about how Unity handles 3D model. First of all, you really need to make sure that your 3D models uh, 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 normals are actually pointing out. And what I mean by that, if I go and grab a cube, this is a simple cube, and if I go, let me see here, normals, no, actually display, polygons. Now I'll just simply push it over here. I'll just put face normals. Now watch this. All these normals, okay, it actually tells the normal is just a simple unified vector that it actually tells which to which direction the face is facing or pointing at. So if you look from inside, you don't see anything just because the normals are pointing outside. So I'm actually inside the cube. I'm rotating inside the cube. There's nothing in there because all the normals are pointing outside, and Unity renders all the faces that faces the camera. So if the normal is facing the camera, it can see it. If not, it will just renders it as actually transparent one. As it's actually it won't be rendering at all. It just doesn't exist. And in order for you to imagine what I'm talking about, I could like grab a face over here. I will go to normals, and I'm just gonna set reverse. And watch this. You see, all normals are pointing out except for this one. Now in Maya, it's working fine. In fact, in Maya, you have a feature called face culling where you can actually like show that as well. But I won't do that here. I would like to show it to you in Unity and see how it looks like. So if I go inside the cube, here's my normal. Okay. Now if I grab this cube and if I just say File, Export Selection, and I get a huge export window. So let me try to minimize it. And I'm gonna have whoops, apparently I haven't the plugin for the FBX export. So if you're using Maya, you can actually go to General Editors and actually Settings and Preferences and Plugin Manager. And I'm just trying to find the FBX Maya export, so load and auto load. Somehow my Maya settings has been lost for some certain reason. And export selection. And yeah, I already exported it before, but let me replace this. So I'm gonna just no, actually, you know what? I'm just gonna call it box testing box, and I'm gonna just say hang on. Now I'm gonna actually talk about it later, but for now, just let me yep, okay, export selection, and let me go try to browse for my in my project files over here. I'm browsing out of the screen. Hang on a second, and let me see here. So I'm gonna actually go to Unity. I'll create a new folder. I'll call this FBX. You can call it FBX Model. You can call it whatever you want, and but make it something that's meaningful. I'm gonna drag the testing box over here in the FBX. Now, as you can see here, all the materials regarding the which has Lambert 1, which is the gray thing, and the box, the materials and the materials of the box are already attached in here. So let me grab this box and drag it right there, and let me pull it up a little bit, and let me hit F. Now I framed up on it, and as you can see here, now I can see only the box from outside here, right? You see? And this is because these normals, I'm looking at the box right now from here, and this is because these normals are facing me. But since this normal is pointing backwards, it's not looking at the camera, I cannot see it anymore. And in fact, I cannot see the cube anymore because all the normals are pointing somewhere else. So right now actually the cube doesn't exist technically. But if I rotate right now, it shows up. This is a rendering technique which actually Unity uses, is backface culling, which just simply says, okay, if you are looking at the faces from the back, you don't need to render them because the object has to face you. You cannot be inside the object, you're always outside of the object. So you will ask me like, okay, if this is a building, how can we actually build an interior? Like this. So if I would like to walk inside, I would like to have an interior. So what I have done here is that I duplicated these faces in the front of the house, and I've got these. Right now, it doesn't matter how I've done them in Maya. Actually, if you know how to model, you can just simply get them right away. So I've just simply prepared these faces, and I just simply positioned them inside. So right now, if you look at the normals of this guy, if I go to display, oh, it's here. If I face normals, you see, it's pointing all inwards. If I hit Control Z and put them back again, it actually points inside the house. So that's why I can see the interior of the house. Okay, so this is a very, very important thing. If you have a fence, if you happen to have a fence, you're gonna have to make a double-sided fence because you have to see it from back and from the front as well. Now we have the same problems here with this house, and if you see here, if I try to display the face normals for it, of course everything just fires so big. So if I choose the normal size and just decrease it to 0.2, actually 0.02, oh, that's more like it. So if I look from inside, let me just drag this window outside over here, and you see the normals are actually pointing inside because you can see them. The normals has to point outside. You shouldn't see any normals inside your polygonal object. So if I grab these faces, let me just grab these faces, hang on a sec, and there, and if I just simply say normals reverse, right now they're behaving normally. Right now these normals don't exist inside, right? They exist on the outside. And if I do the same thing for the other guys, I will get the same, pretty much the same effect. So I'll grab these faces, there you go, and just simply normals reverse, and as you can see here, I cannot see any normals. They are actually pointing outside. Not all of the normals are the same, so for this part of the house is not. So let me show you how it will look like once you have such a problem. Now, if I close this, now there's another thing which you have to understand about Unity getting 3D models from your whatever 3D package you have. The units in Maya, actually you can set them as you want. By default there are centimeters. I set them actually to meters. So if you are using Maya, if you are listening and you are a Maya user, you can go to I believe the settings was here. Yep. And if I go to settings, you see this is the working units. I just put it in meters, and this is because Unity works in meters. Their units are in meters. Okay. Now if I select all this, okay, and always delete the history. If you are a Maya user, you have to delete the history all the time. You cannot import it with the history, because if you do so, you will end up with all the changes which you had piled up upon your object, but you don't want that to happen. Another most important thing is, please do not exceed than 65,000 polygons. Unity cannot support more than that, as far as I remember. I mean, as far as the latest version which we have right now. I mean, the latest version which I'm working on. Unity 4, I don't know if they have changed that, but 65,000 polygons at a certain frame, it is not possible. And please try to simplify your objects as much as possible. If you would like to achieve a better effect, imply or use normal maps, bump maps, try to enhance your object that way, but do not cram in more polygons because it makes your game more heavier, less efficient, and it's gonna be heavier on other machines, But of course, it depends which machines you are targeting. So now, once I select all the house object, I'll go to File, Export Selection. Now, I'm gonna call this House FBX. I'm gonna actually replace this, but let's actually look at the options for now. Now, most of the time, I usually like to be safe on the safe side. I always choose FBX 2010. Some of my students actually reported that 2012, their latest one, had a lot of glitches with Unity, and probably because they implemented probably the older model of FBX. Probably it's fixed right now, but in any case, just put it in 2010. It worked fine for everyone, so it will be for you for sure. Um, right now, you can actually check what you would like to include. So, for example, you can include smoothing meshes, how you're gonna would like to convert any NURB surfaces to any other surfaces. For example, if you have animation, I would advise you that you bake them. Okay, so bake the animation. It works much better that way. Um, I usually untick the lights and untick the cameras. You don't need them. I always embed the media because it takes all the texture files if you had textures, because I have here only materials. So I embed all the texture files, all the materials. I just all of them. I embed them into that FBX file. And here comes the most important thing. Now, by default, you have meters. Meters. Now, this scale factor is 1.0. It's 1 to 1. So you export it into Unity. Now, the problem is Unity, when it takes this model, it divides it by 100. Okay? So, and at the end, you will get 0.01 or 0.1 as far as I remember. So basically, you will get a much, much smaller scale object. So you give it like a tiny, teeny ant, kind of an object. It's not representing at all the size of the object which you made. And at the end, you will end up with a lot of troubles with the textures. So in order to fix that, I usually choose centimeters. So right now it's 100. So 100, when I import it into Unity, it will grab this 100 and divide it by 100. You get the scale of 1. Okay. So make sure that always your scale factor here is 100. Now, yeah, I believe this is it. I don't need any. And yeah, the up axis is Y, because in Maya it's actually Y axis is up, and in Unity the Y axis is up. Some application has the Z axis is up, so please be careful how you export that. So if you would like to convert the axis, your axis is gonna be, for example, in my case in Maya and in Unity, Y is up. Now I'm gonna hit, I named my file, I'm gonna hit export selection, and yes, please replace it. And I'm gonna go and in my folders over here and grab, let me go here to Unity. I'm gonna delete this box material and materials as well along with it, so it's gonna be clean. And I'm gonna grab the house FBX and drag it right inside my FBX folder. Give it some time. And now my house FBX is there. Now I will go here to the area where I emptied it just to get the house in, and I will just simply click and drag the house inwards. And there we go. We get our house. Now I'm gonna just simply rotate it to face the nice scene of the lake and the mountains and everything. And I'm gonna try to pull it up a tad, like so. So it won't, like, yeah, because anyway the terrain is not equal, so I'm just gonna tilt it a little bit. Now of course do not do that, but I'm just gonna leave it like so for now. Try to get it as much as possibly correct. Actually, there are no houses tilted like that in the world, but hey, let me try to do something about this. So if I actually grab my terrain over here, I'm gonna grab this and I'm gonna really, really lower my opacity just like 1 or 2, and right now it's much better. You see, I raised it you know, uh, actually I'm gonna decrease the size, the brush size. So, woohoo, I'm gonna need to read a bit farther. So there we go. Okay, I'm fine with that. Yeah, it's a little bit here. So we are good. Okay, we are good. Now, no, nothing is tilted. That the house is completely not rotated, which is good. And yeah, so let me start the game, and let me go to the house. Oops, let me avoid these trees, and you can pass through, which is not okay at all. Now, one of the things as well which I wanted you to notice is that, look at this. This is more like, this is the fence, and as you can see here, it is actually has problem with the normals. Now, you see, the fences are somehow, the inner normals are facing me, so that's why I can see them from inside. Unlike this one, you see, this one is more like solid. The ones which I already inverted, you see, you cannot see them from inside. You can see them only from outside, right? And also, if you look inside the house, I can see the house from inside because I already duplicated the planes and made them face me so I can look comfortably at them. Now, let me try to forbid the player just to pass through the fences just like that. Okay? So in order to do that, let me hit Control S first. Now in order to do that, I will actually I will leave this for you guys to fix. So I just imported it that way. I actually destroyed it that way so you can see how dramatic the effect is. Okay, and yeah, so okay, in order to forbid the player from passing by, I'm gonna have actually to include an empty game object, and I'm gonna call this the fence collider. And since it's an empty game object, there's nothing in here, you know. But I will go and add a component to it, which is going to be physics. I'm going to add box collider. Now I will expand this, rotate this a little bit, and try to position it as normally as possible. Now there are several ways of adding box colliders. You could, in fact, automatically generate a box collider for this one, but I would like actually to show you right now this one. I don't know if it will work out with it, the automatic one. So I will actually grab, right now I'll make this one for now, and later on we'll do the automatic one and see what's going to happen. So I'm going to just simply rotate this a tad. Okay, and just push it a little bit here, and probably scale it just a little bit down. Yeah. Now, if I select that plane, you see this piece of polygon, which is PQ1. Actually, it's always good to name your polygons because, as you can see here, I have like PQ108, which doesn't make any sense, but so that's why you have to be really organized in your modeling environment. Now, if you look carefully, I will try to fly in. So I have to hunt the terrain and dump. You know, see, like boom. You cannot actually, you bump into it, right? The problem is I'm actually passing through this ground. So in order to fix that, here's another way. If I select this wooden cube, oh well, this plane. If I go to component, physics, and I'll just simply say, make a box collider for it, and it immediately generates a box collider that fits this cube perfectly. And if I hit play and go, oh man, I'm colliding with all the trees, and I believe you're gonna feel it. You see, I'm just going above this part. You see, like when I go, the camera just bumps up, bumps down, and so on. Okay, now of course we can go further and start applying, for example, box colliders for these guys. Now, of course, I will not apply a box collider for this one, because if I do that, I mean automatically, I will completely block the house, which I don't want to. So what I'm going to do here is just simply start creating empty game objects and start assigning them to this thing, to the house. So as you can see here, I'm not very organized in terms of my, you know, in terms of my objects here. So in fact, I'm gonna create, and let me see here. Actually, I cannot create a game object here. So anyway, I'm gonna create an empty game object. Although it could be different from people, from person to person, but right now I'm gonna just call this environment controls. And I'm gonna grab the rain, the sun, and the wind zone. I'm just gonna like drag them, parent them to the ground, to the environment controls. So right now, if I select this environment controls, I have the rain selected, I have the wind showing up, and I have the light somewhere showing up, right? So all of them are under one game object. Nice for management. Okay, and I will leave the house FBX. I will just simply call it the house. Tropical terrain is on its own. Water splash is a water splash. Okay, let me just put it there here right now. Well, in fact, I could parent it to a water, but hey, actually, the water splash is gonna have to parent it to a water, to our water thing. And yeah, and the fence collider has to be parented to our house. So I'm gonna actually create one more empty game object, and in that game object I'm just gonna say this is my house. Okay, let me call this FB, and I'm gonna rename this house to house FBX. So it's gonna be the FBX model and the house FB. Now it's fine. Now I'm gonna like put this in here. Put the fence collider parented to the house as well. So whenever you select the house, you select it all, including the fence colliders, right? Now if I select my fence collider, I can actually duplicate it, rotate it, rotate it normally like a human being. So let's say we are talking about 180 degrees, negative 100. Actually, yeah, sorry, I should have like rotate it like so. Actually, because our house is not perfectly aligned with the world coordinates, so that's why it looks a little bit strange. Now, of course, it's gonna take some time to get this right. So, so I will not actually do this all the collision in the video, because this is more like a repetitive kind of a task. So I'm gonna scale this a little bit, like so. Push it on the side. Now I'm gonna actually as well, for example, I could grab this and I could name it the wall collider and scale it in, scale it up, position it right there, and probably scale it a little bit more, give it a little bit more thickness, and embed it inside the walls like so. So it actually will show up in the wall, so it will collide, so the player cannot pass through the both sides, right? Like so. There are several ways of solving these problems, by the way. I mean, I'm choosing the one which is most comfortable for me, and the first one which, happens to occur in my head, like, so there we go. Right, I just put here 2, so let me hit Control S and let me play this. And where's my house? And let me try. So I cannot pass through here. I cannot pass through there. So nope, you cannot. And I can. Oh, I can actually pass through here, of course. And as you can see here, I cannot pass through the wall here. So yeah, I can only look through the window, but I cannot pass through the wall from both sides, as you can see here. So you can. Okay, awesome. And I cannot, of course, pass through the fence from here too. So take care. Now, it's actually up to you right now. Right now, you could actually like go ahead and start um, modifying the you know, like start actually putting the house, trying to fix it and everything, and you just simply re-import it back again. So just simply when you fix the house, just simply re-import it back again in the same place, and it will work out. So I will just stop right here, and I believe this is it. This is it. Actually, in the next lesson, I'm gonna just spend exactly like 5 or 10 minutes trying to put some grass and put some rocks around, so to break a little bit this flattened surfaces. Okay, so we're gonna see how it will look like. All right. So okay, so we're gonna stop right here and see you in the next lesson.